up, we have a new film on Prime Video, which is called You Hurt My Feelings. And in You Hurt My Feelings, we have Beth, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who has a very happy relationship with her husband, played by the wonderful Tobias Menzies, until the point where Tobias Menzies lets rip about what he really feels about the book that Beth has been writing for the last 2 years. And here's a clip.
He's been lying to me this whole time.
I wasn't lying. I was encouraging.
That's not true. You were lying to be encouraging.
You know what? As an actor, Mark isn't always great.
So the times when you don't think he's good, what do you say, Mark?
So I'll start with this one. I actually really enjoyed this one. This is written and directed by Nicole Holofcener, who is actually better known for being a writer. She wrote the Melissa McCarthy film Can You Ever Forgive Me? And she also surprisingly wrote Ridley Scott's The Last Duel as well. I thought this was really wittily written. It made me laugh a lot. Having been married for 40 years, I kind of could relate to a lot of the stuff that was going on between Beth and her husband Don in this. And I thought it was really clever how it picked apart the sort of little white lies that everybody tells to everybody else in walks of life in the guise of encouragement. And the phrase that came to mind was, does my bum look big in this? Right, which puts the fear of God into every partner's heart when they get asked that question. And there is only one right answer, right? Unless you were going to get your conjugal rights withdrawn for many months. And it's kind of that kind of summarizes where the film is. That at what point do you give little white lies to try to encourage people to progress in whatever they're doing, be it music or acting in the case of one of the characters in this film, or writing in the case of Beth. And I thought the whole thing was absolutely wonderfully done. And there were some great little sound bites in there. I love the fact that everybody was struggling to be something above their station. So the girl in the shop selling pot, where her son works, she comes in and says, well, if you've got a good piece of writing, let me know, because I'm an executive producer, says this girl behind the counter in the pot shop. And the fact that it kind of puts a nail through the heart of V-neck sweaters as a gift for any man. She's bought me V-neck sweaters before, right? Not a fan. So I thought that was really good. I just really liked the way that the whole film kind of developed like that and went in lots of different directions. There's also a wonderful scene where their son says, well, if you hadn't kind of encouraged me in different directions, I wouldn't feel so let down by the fact that I didn't actually end up being as good as you said I was in these different areas. There's quite a lot of different layers in the film, which I really, really like. So it was a big plus from me. Who else has seen this one? Scott?
Yeah.
Do you want to go next, Scott?
Okay. So sometimes I say that a film can be forgettable. And for me, unfortunately, before coming to this podcast, I was a little bit worried because I was trying to think, when it comes to my turn, what am I going to say about this film? I remember who was in it, and I remember roughly what happened in terms of, as you said, the bit where Tobias Menzies criticises Julia Louis-Dreyfus's book. But aside from that, I just remember there being lots of boring conversations. It was a very subtle film, and I appreciate that there is a lot going on. And I don't know if I was perhaps not the correct target audience exactly for this in terms of my life experiences and comparing to what's going on in this film. But I just found I found the film just drifting by. And by the time it was over, I was like, okay, that was a film that I watched. And just completely forgot about it as soon as the credits started rolling. And I feel bad for that because I don't think that it was poorly written. I don't think that it was poorly acted. In fact, I think particularly Tobias Menzies, I really liked some of the performances.
He was, of course, Prince Philip in The Crown, wasn't he, in that series?
In The Crown.
3 and 4 of The Crown,
He was excellent.
And I thought he did a really good American accent, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good actor. And they all played their parts really well. I think this one just wasn't for me, unfortunately.
Okay. Andy?
Yeah, I just want to say what Bob said, because I really enjoyed it. I thought the dynamic between the two lead characters was really good. I thought the performances were terrific. The interaction was great. Bit like Scott, I did see this about 4 or 5 weeks ago on a screener and had forgotten a lot of it. And I was a little worried too, Scott, about what I was going to say. So I went back over my notes. As Bob said, I think it depicts a marriage and things that can go wrong and the little white lies that get told very, very well in a very realistic manner. I thought it was very, very funny. I agree with the Rotten Tomatoes score of 94% from 179 critics.